Shut up and sit down. We now rejoin part 2 of our interview with Brian Cassingena. So we'll just jump right in.
So the key to Andre's style of writing is actually stories, and not just stories. What we call as copywriters open loops, and that's I don't watch many series, but you would have watched Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I just actually watched it within the last 7 months.
Oh, cool. Because it's easy to do, and the reason for that is it uses these open loops absolutely brilliantly. So you get to the end of an episode of Breaking Bad, and you're left with a cliffhanger. I haven't watched it for a while, so I can't think of a specific example, but it's usually Walter White's getting got a gun held to his head or something. Or I remember once, wreckage from the plane was falling down into their swimming pool.
Right, you had the teddy bear in the swimming pool.
Without the eye, I think it was. But
that's right.
So you've got a cliffhanger at the end of each episode, and the first point that to make is that of course the stories that Andre uses and the stories that I used had a cliffhanger in the end of the email. So you would start off telling them something of interest, promising them a benefit, and you would finish up by saying, I'll let you know tomorrow how this turned out, kind of thing.
Right. You wouldn't believe what happened next.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And it sounds corny, but it absolutely works because people just can't wait to read the next email. They want to know what's happening next.
There's some sort of closure thing there about open loops.
Yeah, we need closure. So if we hear at the start of a story that sounds interesting, and then we don't get closure, we need to get it somehow. It always annoyed me as a kid when a series or a movie would suddenly finish, and I'd see the end of the time slot coming up, and I'd think to myself, how on earth are they going to finish it this time? They're not going to make it. They're still in the burnt building, And then the words would come up on screen to be continued, and all us kids would throw down our cushions and wander off to bed in frustration. But we were dying to watch the next episode.
It's true, and that's funny that you mentioned that, because that happened to me when I went to see the Hobbit, the movie The Hobbit, because I went to see the second one, not knowing that there was a third.
Yeah.
And I got to the end, and I read those books as a kid, and I knew them back and front. But when I remember the dragon broke out of the mountain and was flying towards the thing, I remember looking at it at the time. How the hell are they going to wrap this all up? Just quite a bit to go, and then it sort of just stopped abruptly, and the music started, and I was like, "Son of a bitch, there's 3."
That's how they get you back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same with the Matrix movie. At the time it was my favorite movie, and I thought at the end of the movie was coming to an end. I thought, well, that's wrapped up in nice and easy. And then I thought, wait, no, it's not. They're still at war with the evil robots. It's left wide open for other movies, and of course, what happens from there. So, and it's the ongoing saga with Star Wars. I don't think that thing's ever going to end, and why would they?
No, never. Now that Disney has it, they'll definitely never
So,
end.
in that email sequence, that's that. Yeah, and that's what I drew on. I would start a story. You look in blog posts and you speak to the guys there, and you get these stories out of them. You look at the past marketing materials, build up a story, and you'd start it on email 2, and you'd say, okay, that's enough for now. I'll tell you how this finished up tomorrow. Stay tuned. Yeah, that's how you keep people engaged in the emails, because those first couple of emails where you get good open rates, you've got to get them there. Otherwise, you never will. Yeah, and that's where I'm working on a few automated funnels, evergreen funnels with them at the moment. And what I'm finding is that this kind of copywriting, where it flows from one email to the next, to the next, to the next, these open loops, that is key to the success of these evergreen marketing funnels, because the email open rates and click-through rates on many of those can be abysmal. And many of there, even with those loyal customers, are certainly nothing to write home about. But I've just completed one for a meditation product there, and the open rates starting off well over 50%, and staying in the high 40s through a series of 6, 7, or 8 emails. And click-through rates sometimes in double figures, but not often. But they also have a stat called click-to-open rate. And that click-to-open rate, for many people won't know it because not all email providers tell you this. That is actually of the people who opened, how many of those guys clicked through to whatever link you've got. Yeah, because straight through CTR, click-through rate, is of all the emails that were sent. Yeah, so the percentage is always going to be much lower. And click-to-open rates, that's a measure of how good your content is, in the way that a CTR is as well. But these click-to-open rates are high 20s, 30s, sometimes higher than that. It's not that I have any magical writing skills, or I'm Stephen King, or I'm Dan Kennedy, or any of those guys. But all I do is just weave these stories through, get them hooked from the first email, and once you've got them there, then you've got a chance of keeping them engaged and entertained.
Very nice, Brian. Very nice. It's a good plug for Andre's product as well.
Yeah.
He probably owes you a commission now. But, I learned how to do email, or started learning how to do email, I guess, through Matt Fury. Was my sort of intro, and that was basically the same. He wasn't. I don't know if he really preached opening loops and stuff, but he definitely pounded you on the stories aspect, of course. And the daily emailing, or multiple times a day.
Yeah, he was the first guy. He was the first guy that I heard telling us to mail list daily. And when I heard that, I recoiled in horror, and I thought, oh my God! I imagined a spam complaint. But that's what you do. If your list is interested in you, then that's all good. If they're not, then they should be on your list anyway.
That's right, and that's a real good way to find out who's what. We have a guy coming up on the show, which we recorded before this one, a couple weeks before you're on the show, but he will be coming out in short order. And he likes to say, "Are you there to cuddle, or are you there to fuck?"
No, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of how you find out who's what, who sits where. In fact, recently I had a client. I taught him how to email because I didn't want to write the emails myself because I'm kind of lazy. But he started emailing twice a day, and basically he started a whole business, a whole separate business than the one he was sort of thought he was in, based off of that. Which has turned out very well. But yeah, there is something to the difference between people being like, if I'm interested in something, for instance, we're here talking about copywriting. When I hear stuff about copywriting and stuff, I could talk about copywriting, listen to copywriting stuff, interview copywriters all day long, and never really get bored because it's something I'm deeply interested in and do for work, But if it's something like, crocheting or knitting or something, doesn't matter how good the copy is, I won't read it.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that people always have to keep in mind. If they want to hear from you, it's almost an insatiable desire.
Yeah, yeah, like all the email sequences I've written probably over the past couple of years, they've been designed to be sent daily. So in email 2, I'll continue a story on from yesterday. So if that's sent like 2 days later, it doesn't really make sense. So that actually forces a client's hand to start emailing daily.
Yeah, that's a way to get them to convert to your way of thinking, I guess.
Yeah. The other thing on mailing daily is your people's fears are not unfounded. No one likes to be bothered like every day by email. Our inbox is full enough as it is. If you start emailing daily and people start objecting, the problem could well be is that you're not offering any value. When we talk about emailing daily, it's not just about links to your sales page.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're not helping people by doing that all the time. You are helping them to get a great product, if that's the case. But if they don't buy immediately, then perhaps they can be helped by an article or a video or some other piece of content that does genuinely help them. And your product is still there as well. So that's how you keep them on your list. So when you do send a link to your sales page, then it gets more eyes on it.
Awesome, good tips there, absolutely, and that all combines like what you talked about earlier. The stories, those are sort of the basis for keeping that interest and that fire sizzling, as you say.
Yeah.
So one thing we've sort of found when we interview different copywriters and so forth, of course, a lot of people have gone through different courses and so forth, but a lot of people too have actually had direct mentoring. Did you have any of that in your career so far, Brian? Did you have a direct copywriting mentor or somebody that was sort of looking over your stuff for you, or perhaps pointing you in the right direction?
Yeah, my mentors have been some of the key reasons behind the reason why I've been able to do what I do now. I've been in coaching programs. I've been in membership sites. I'm currently in one of Ryan Levesque's memberships. But for copywriting, my most recent one, and this is the biggest one, was a fellow Aussie copywriter by the name of Trevor Crook.
The toe cracker.
Yes, that's the guy. Yeah. So he's the big bald copywriter with the fancy shoes. If you haven't seen his shoes, check him out. They're a sight to behold. They're not cheap either, and they're really nice.
Cheap, no. We had Trevor on the show before too, so people, if they listen to these sequentially, they will know who Trevor is.
Yeah. So people should definitely check that interview out, because I got no idea. I never heard the interview, but I guarantee that it'll be full of like direct, blunt advice which you can take to the bank. Because he's one of those guys. He doesn't mess around at all, and he's a very successful copywriter. He's written copy for Frank Kern and Ed Dale and some of the big internet marketing guys. He's written for International Living and a bunch of other people. I've got a bunch of his home study courses, and it was in 2012 that I flew 14 hours from Sydney to LAX at the very last seat of the plane in a pair of tight jeans. Which, on reflection,
that seems to stick in your memory.
Yeah, on reflection, was not the best ever. I was engrossed in like preparation work and writing that I was doing on the way over. So, I didn't even notice until I got there. But yeah, then I missed my connecting flight. I only allowed myself 3 hours to get through LAX, which wasn't enough.
Welcome to America.
Yeah. So I went up to see him in Vancouver the next day, and spent a week with him. And this is the first time I'd been to the Americas, and I was half an hour drive from the mountains and the snow, and a beautiful, brilliant city like Vancouver. But we just spent the week cooped up in his apartment at his kitchen table, writing, working on stuff. That was probably one of the key weeks in my copywriting education. Two things happened. It was just a massive download of everything he knew about copywriting, which is a lot, and it also confirmed for me that I was already doing a lot of stuff right.
Validation.
Yeah, it's validation because you have those fears that you're doing something this way. What the hell are you doing? Is that the right way to go about it? So I had a bit of that. That really helps. Like the whole week, just taking me through start to finish of an entire project. So that was really cool. And that was one of the key moments. Since then, I think I quit working altogether after that, and now I'm able to live out that dream. I choose to live in KL at the moment, and the next logical destination would be. My wife's got a lot of family in Bangkok, Thailand, so I'd like to spend some time there. I've got family throughout Europe. Even though I no longer need to worry about getting a British passport, doesn't do me any good now. But we're talking about Venice. We've got family in Alicante, Spain, and of course I've seen so many American movies. Spending extended periods in the US would be ideal. So that's a lot of fun. So, but the thing is, I'm able to do that because I can put together some words that sell, and it's not that I have any magical writing to do. Like I said, I'm no Hemingway. I just know what works, and what works is those open loops and those stories. I mostly write email copy now. I don't do a lot of sales pages. For some reason, I'm just a lot better at writing emails. I can whip up an email sequence really quickly, and I can write in that voice that is a continuing conversation rather than a one-time thing on a sales page. And I have Andre Chaperone's modest little course to thank for that. And it's not a huge thing, but the information inside is worth 10 times or 100 times, because you could easily make let's say it's $200. I think it might be $200. You could easily use that to make 200 grand in a year.
Yeah.
So that's 1,000 times return on investment.
Yep, absolutely. I totally agree. And it's a resource I've used myself.
Yeah.
It's a good effect.
Yeah.
So, Brian, do you still take clients, or are you off the market?
I do occasionally. I'm not really looking right now, but I'm open to taking on more email clients. And there's one reason for that, because in the past I've chosen my clients carefully, because I don't, I didn't get into this thing to work hard,
Right.
When you see people around here in the streets in KL, and that there's a lot of construction going on. Those guys work hard,
Yes.
The waiters and cooks in an unair conditioned restaurant, those guys work hard. Really, I've I've never worked hard a day in my life compared to some of these people. So yeah,
I try not to either.
Yeah, it's not out of laziness, but it's just it's efficient. I do a 7-minute workout in the morning, not because I couldn't be bothered working out for 8 minutes, but because it's efficient, I get the same benefits out of it in 7 minutes. So yeah, so that there's a reason why I'm opening up to more clients now, and it's because of the ease in which I'm able to write these emails. See, in the past, if you read Autodesk Wonder 3, Autodesk Wonder Madness 3, which is the latest version, you'll see how Andre, what he does to visualize the stories, how they loop together. He has like 5 to 7 notepads open on his computer at the same time. He's got his screen filled up with them, and there's just a huge mess of notepads. Each notepad, or whatever app you want to use, each notepad has got one email on it.
Right. It's like
and he uses that to visually, it's exactly that. It's a storyboard of emails. But I think the OCD side of me does not like this much at all, because I'll always click on the background and they'll all disappear behind a web page or something, or I'll accidentally close one and lose 2 hours worth of work. Yeah, that's what I would do. So having 7 or 8 notepads open, especially I'm just working from MacBook Air, so I'm not working with like a 21-inch screen or anything like that. So you can only fit so many notepads and make them legible on screens of a MacBook Air. So I just thought to myself, well, this sucks, but I love doing it. So there's got to be the answer. So I Googled around for a while and I could not find any kind of web app. I mean, maybe someone can correct me on this, but I could not find anything that would resemble the way I needed to put these notepads together. I think if you Google Andre Chaperone autoresponder email storyboard, you'll probably be able to find a picture of his desktop with all these notepads strung across the top of it. So you'll be able to have a clearer picture of what I'm doing, or better yet, buy the course. So I could not find anything that I wanted. So I thought, well, hell with this. I'll just have to have it made. And what I did was I registered emailstoryboard.com, and I had a very basic web app made so that I could write these emails on screen. I could see where the stories linked in together, and I could save that in a way that I could come back to it later. And so I made it so that we enter the subject line, you write your copy, you can add images and links, and that's how it works. So and it displays your emails across the screen, so you can scroll sideways, which is better if you're a Mac user like me. So you can just use the 2 fingers to scroll sideways, and it adds as many emails as you want. So, but I usually start out with I usually start out with 3 because you don't really want to send less than 3 emails in a sequence. So that's one of the golden rules. So that's the base, and you can add more emails than that.
No, it's really good. I mean, Brian's been very generous to let me play around with it a little bit, and I haven't had a lot of time.
And that's what I was telling you about the other day.
Yeah, it's awesome. For doing exactly what Andre suggests. It is the perfect solution because it gives you the visualization of all, so you can just visually put everything together as you're opening loops and closing them in subsequent emails.
Yeah, I think that's the key, because I'm a visual person, like many people. If I was listening to this call, I'd have a hard time imagining exactly what I'm talking about. So because I like to see with my eyes. So that's why I need those emails laid out horizontally next to each other, so I can see where the end of one story on one email fits into the beginning of the next email.
Yeah, without having to go back and physically open a separate file and all this garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got to find somewhere.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, got to find somewhere to save those files and organization. It's too much work.
Yeah, it is, and we're lazy. We're copywriters. So Brian, and that is at emailstoryboard.com if people want to get involved with that, with your new creation.
Yeah, I've just put together a very simple site to host the web app. All you do is go to that page and sign up. I've now put a short explainer video on the front of there, which takes you through using the app. So that's your user guide. It's free to sign up, and it's very easy to use. And it's there. I put a very basic site up so you can go and have a play around with it, and that should help you use this kind of open loop copywriting in your emails.
Right, which is so effective.
Yeah.
Now, if people want to get a hold of it. Yeah. Oh, no, go ahead, Brian.
It's the most effective thing I know. As a up-and-coming copywriter, you'll sometimes wonder, where your big hit's coming from. Like you hear all about these guys who have written copy for $1 million launches and all that sort of stuff, and most, a lot of their stories are true. And
that's the most diplomatic man I've ever heard him put.
Yeah, and it's easy to lose faith and wonder if any of them are true. But this kind of email copywriting is key because, as you know, it's only a small percentage of people who ever buy on the first visit. So your follow-up is crucial. And when I mastered this kind of open loop copywriting, that's when I've enjoyed the results that I've spoken about. It is possible if you use this kind of strategy. But the tool's there if anyone wants to use it. It will, if you write emails for yourself or for clients, it will help you visually map out, lay out your emails like that. And if you use Andre Chaperone's strategy, as you should, you'll just love the way it works.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant the way you've done with that, and it's going to really help me because that's something I've even wondered about in the past too. Is I'm pretty good with being able to not even have those ones open, but I eventually find myself, especially if there's a couple of days in between, when I have to go back and I'm reviewing everything and see, and this has everything in one simple web app that's just, it's nice, it's clean, and it's easy to use.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned going back days later because, and this is another key for up and coming copywriters. You'll write a first draft and you'll think it's good, but the acid test is to come back 2 days later, look at it with a fresh set of eyes, and you will see a stack of stuff that needs changing. But the problem is, if you've written 7 emails, where are those text files? You got to reassemble them on the screen, make sure they're in the right order, and do all that sort of stuff. That's why I now use this web app to keep me organized, and it's right there. It's got a save button, which is like my favorite button on the screen. So that's the key, the save button.
Yeah. Now, Brian, if people want to get a hold of you personally, maybe they are looking to have some emails written, or maybe they're just want to inquire with you personally, how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, mostly through my Facebook profile. Let me think. You will also be able to get my contact details through emailstoryboard.com. But it's also good through my my Facebook profile, which is my username is just Brian Cassingena. So add me as friend first, or else your message usually goes in the others folder, which is no good. So do that, and we'll chat, and we'll hop on Skype and whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian's very accommodating. Don't take advantage of him. He's a super nice guy. Brian, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. I know it's we're at opposite ends of the day. You're late at night, and I'm early in the morning, but it's been a real pleasure. You've dropped a lot of knowledge here today.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you getting up for me, and also just for having me on the call. You know, I know that you vet your copywriters and other experts very carefully, and I appreciate being able to share my experiences with your listeners, and I'm also glad to share this new web app with them as well.
Yeah, I implore everyone to go check out
I think that would be really
Brian's.
cool if people let me know how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Go check out Brian's thing at emailstoryboard.com. For anyone who copywriter writes emails, and that's probably every single person listening. Then, if you're a copywriter, then it's the perfect web app for doing what we do. And hang on the line,
Yeah,
Brian.
I use it myself.
Yeah, there you go. That's a case in point. And he's writing for big marketers like Mindvalley. Now, of course, everyone listening to this show knows we like to thank Ben Sound at bensound.com for the intro and outro music. Free, royalty-free music at bensound.com. Check it out for your projects. And we'll talk to everyone next week when we will have the Sir Reverend Dr. Colin Theriot from Georgia on the show. That's the next one we're recording. So look forward to that. The king, the cult leader, as he likes to be called. So we'll talk to everyone next week on the Takeover Tuesday podcast.